Millions of people all over the world appreciate the joy of dining at an establishment which serves delicious food. During this timeless occasion, we savor not only the unique qualities of the food being served, we also consume various other important characteristics of the dining experience while seated inside any dining establishment. The service we are given, presentation of the meal, style of the interior surroundings, and even our dining companions also significantly influence each eating experience. This series will visit the booming metropolis of Victorian London at the height of the British Empire to experience dining from one gentleman's viewpoint during that period. The journalist Nathaniel Newnham-Davis, generally known as Lieutenant Colonel Newnham-Davis, was a British food writer and gourmet. His acclaimed London establishment reports earned him a fine reputation during the latter decades of the Victorian era. Through his unique culinary journeys, we shall explore fascinating accounts of various establishments in late Victorian London he felt worthy of patronage. Nathaniel Newnham-Davis provides our unique view into fine dining in the late Victorian period through his 1899 book titled Dinners and Diners, Where and How to Dine in London. This was a time when elegant two-wheeled horse-drawn carriages like hansoms were still in vogue. With each chosen restaurant, the acclaimed food writer provides more than just a routine review. His captivating accounts welcome the reader into a select world of culinary achievements, with a side dish of keen observation. He provides exquisite social commentary and contemporary background for each establishment he visits, which appears to be as important to him as the food on offer. Vivid descriptions of the atmosphere and distinguished people that made these restaurants their second home make us seem as if we are sitting at the next table. On today's episode, we will visit SIMPSON'S, otherwise known as Simpson's in the Strand, Grand Divan Tavern. Located in Westminster, London, on the edge of Covent Garden, this classic Victorian dining establishment was reviewed and recommended by Nathaniel Newnham-Davis in his landmark 1899 book. History of Simpson's in the Strand in Westminster, London. Simpson's in the Strand, commonly known as Simpson's, was established during 1828 by Samuel Rees under the name Grand Cigar Divan. At that time, this establishment served as a gentleman's club and a chess player's meeting place. In 1848, the Grand Cigar Divan was joined by well-known London caterer John Simpson, eventually transforming the establishment into a classic Victorian traditional restaurant. Offerings were presented not on a typical menu, though a bill of fare. In addition, Simpson's held a fascinating association with the game of chess. During its prominent period for the game, matches with top players from across Britain came to this establishment. Simpson's strong connection to chess declined towards the end of the 19th century. Simpson's enjoyed an illustrious list of patrons, including Charles Dickens, William Gladstone, and P.G. Wodehouse. Ownership changed in 1898 when Simpson's was acquired by the owners of the Savoy. Its classic Victorian furnishings after a remodel in 1903 highlighted dark wooden paneling and regular table seating in the dining room, along with private booths lining the walls. A late Victorian period banqueting room is located on the first floor. Since 1904, Simpson's in the Strand, Grand Divan Tavern, has been located at 100 Strand in the Savoy Buildings near the edge of Covent Garden. The building which houses this restaurant has Grade 2 listed status. Today, Simpson's continues to hold a legendary reputation for its roasted meats like aged Scottish beef and Welsh lamb. These offerings are transported by a silver-domed dinner trolley to be carved tableside, another unique tradition. Simpson's was closed in 2020 due to the pandemic. It is scheduled to reopen in 2026. Now, let us present the review of the popular restaurant Simpson's by Nathaniel Newnham-Davis. Please note the following review appears as he wrote it at the time, reflecting customs, language, and attitudes of the Victorian age. No offense is intended by presenting his original account, as our channel provides detailed information for historical purposes from the Victorian era. Review from the Dinner at Simpson's as told by Nathaniel Newnham-Davis. The battle painter and I were walking down the Strand, uncertain where to lunch, when just by the theatrical bookshop a man in a shabby suit of tweed and a billycock hat, drawn rather low down on his forehead, passed us quickly, looking into our faces for a second as he did so. "It's Smith," said the battle painter. Poor fellow. We knew he had left his cavalry regiment and had heard vaguely that he had come to grief through some financial smash. Here was our man, and we turned at once and went after him. "I didn't think you fellows would know me in this kit," he said, when we caught up and laid friendly hands on him. Most people don't seem over-anxious to recognize me now. He certainly did not look flourishing, though he had the smart carriage of the shoulder about him, was as carefully shaved, and his light mustache as carefully trimmed, as if he were going on parade, and had the old buoyancy of manner. "Where will you come and lunch with us?" we both asked in a breath. "It's my dinner hour now," he told us, and somehow there was a touch of pathos in the way he said it. We proposed the Savoy Grill Room to him, or Romano's across the way, but he said that, if we were anxious that he should come and eat with us, he would sooner have a cut from the saddle of mutton at Simpson's than anything else. We turned back and went into the entrance of the old-fashioned eating place, with its imitation marble columns, its colored tile floor, its trees and tubs, and its 2 placards on either side, one announcing that a dinner from the joint is to be had for 2 shillings 6 pence, and the other that a fish dinner for 2 shillings 9 pence is served from 12:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Smith changed his mind. The last fish dinner he had eaten was more than half a dozen years ago, when he had asked a party of 30 down to celebrate an investment that was going to make his fortune, and if we didn't mind, he would eat another now. We took 3 seats at the end of the tables in the downstairs room. Smith looked round with an air of recognition. Nothing had changed, he said, since the days when he used to come and get a cut from the joint after a day's racing. And indeed, Simpson's does not look like a place that changes. The big dumbwaiter in the center of the room, almost as tall as a catafalque, with its burden of glasses and decanters, and 4 plated wine coolers, one at each corner as ornament. The divisions with brass rails and little curtains that run down one side of the room, the horsehair stuffed black cushioned chairs and lounges, the mirrors on one side of the room and ground glass windows on the other, the painted garlands of flowers and fish and flesh and fowl, mellowed by age and London smoke that fill up the vacant spaces on the wall, the ormolu clocks, the decoratively folded napkins and glasses on the mantelpieces, the hats and coats hanging in the room, the screen with many timetables on it, the great bar window opening into the room, framing a depth of luminous shadow, all are old-fashioned. Only the 2 great candelabra that stand, a dozen feet high, on either side of the room, have been modernized. Waiters at Simpson's are Britannic and have that dignity which sits so well on the chairman of a company addressing its shareholders, or an MP entertaining his constituents, or the genuine English waiter taking an order. It is an undefinable majesty, but it exists. Rubicund gentlemen of portly figure, dressed in white, the carvers, leisurely push carving dishes, with plated covers, running on wheels from customer to customer. A Benignon waiter with a grey beard had stood and accepted our order, which was, to begin with, turbot and sauce, and while with becoming dignity he conveyed the news to one of the white-coated gentlemen, Smith gave us a resume of his history since we had all 3 parted at a railway station in the Punjab. He had almost been a millionaire. He had ridden as a trooper in a squadron of American cavalry. He had fought in Matalabad. He had tried gold mining without success. And now he was going this afternoon down to the city to meet a man who was going to finance a marvelous invention of his. And presently he would make the fortunes of the battle painter and myself. The battle painter and myself smiled, and fell onto our turbot with its Rubicon sauce, for we knew Smith of old. A fine big slice of firm turbot it was, but I fancy the sauce owed its deep color and some of its substance to the artistic methods of the cook. Next, Smith voted for a fried sole, while the battle painter and I ordered stewed eels, and as the first bottle of Liefromage, which Smith had preferred to any other wine or spirit, was getting near low water mark, I asked our waiter, who somewhat resembled the ex-speaker, to bring us another. Smith having for the moment exhausted his historical reminiscences, we could look round at our neighbors. Half a dozen country gentlemen up to see the Shire horses at Islington, but most of them confining their attention to those saddles of mutton, which are the pride of Simpson's. A barrister or 2, the good-looking husband of a popular actress, and 4 or 5 well-known bookmakers, for Simpson's is essentially sporting. Then our eels and the sole were brought. Smith said the sole was excellent, and except that I like my sauce with the eel a little richer than I got at Simpson's, neither the battle painter nor myself could find the slightest cause to grumble. The Liefromage was pleasant and soft, and we were in the best of tempers when the whitebait, a trifle large, and the salmon for Smith, salmon which looked beautiful and which we both secretly envied, arrived. A little group of men who bore the stamp of racing men about them had congregated round the bar window while we had been at the table, and were being tended to by a rosy-faced maiden. Cheese and celery we paid but little attention to, for Smith, now quite the cheery, said that he must not miss his appointment in the city, but that when the splendid fortune that was in his grasp came to him, he would give the battle painter and myself, in return for our midday meal, a dinner at the Savoy that would outdo the celebrated Rouge et Noir one. It was pleasant to see the good fellow himself again, and we wished him success in his venture. Then, after seeing him off, we paid the bill. Dinner 8 shillings 6 pence. Smith's salmon was 3 pence extra. 2 Liefrenbach 12 shillings. Attendance 9 shillings. Total £1 1 shilling 3 pence. Before we left the old-fashioned house, about which the steam of saddles and mutton seemed to cling, we looked in on the Knights of the Round Table, who have their club room at Simpson's, who possess a wonderful collection of portraits of past worthies of the club, and a unique book of playbills, whose motto is, "I will go eat with thee and see your knights," and who once a week dine together off plain English food at the Round Table, one piece of mahogany from which they draw their name. 1st of March. Thank you for watching this episode of Fine Places to Dine in Victorian London. Please be sure to watch another episode from this series, or any other Victorian to Modern episodes shown at the end of this video. Also, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click the notification button so we can create more exciting content. I wish you good tidings, as we remember that sharing knowledge has been a noble deed throughout the ages.